What's up, crypto fam? Welcome back to another episode. If you guys are new here, we do a giveaway at the beginning of every single episode. And actually recently there have been anonymous donors sending out cryptocurrency to different commenters. Today's giveaway goes to Kevin Brown. Thank you so much for liking and commenting on the previous video, Kevin. If you guys want to win on the next video, don't forget to like this one and comment below with your wallet address. Today's episode is an interview with Forrest from Hashoshi. He's an overall nice guy, an Ethereum developer, and I sit down and talk to him about sidechains. I've been really interested in sidechains over the past 6 to 10 months, mainly because scalability is becoming a big issue. With companies like Visa doing 60,000 transactions a second, Bitcoin only doing maybe 7 transactions per second, there's a big issue with being able to scale with millions of people using that chain. There's a lot of cool projects out there like Lightning and Liquid and a lot of different innovations happening, so I wanted to sit down with Forrest and talk about some of those from a tech perspective and see what his thoughts were. So let's dive right into the interview. I am here with Forrest of Hashoshi. How you doing, Forrest?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Excited to talk about sidechains. Today, we're going to go over the basics of what a sidechain is, and Forrest has a really extensive background in the space, so he was just kind of give us a high level of the projects he's excited about. So, Forrest, if you could just kind of whittle it down in the most simplistic way possible, what is a sidechain?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, as many of you probably know, that the concept and the theme of scalability being a problem with blockchains and crypto projects in general, it's permeating almost everything. I think everyone's concerned about scale, and sidechains are one sort of approach to reaching better scalability for different blockchain protocols. And so if you think about a main blockchain network, what's mainly stored is a state. So it's the state of transactions. You know, you're going to have tokens at different people's wallets, whether it's, you know, a UTXO based blockchain, what have you. And the concept of sidechains is really taking that concept of state and dividing it out into smaller groups. So if you think about a pipeline for transactions where everything has to go through one pipeline. Obviously, if there's only one pipeline, it's a lot harder. It's like bandwidth. You only have so much bandwidth. But if you can split that out into a bunch of different pipelines, you can make that process more efficient. And that's what sidechains are all about. It's taking the idea of reaching consensus and maintaining state and doing that in multiple different places so that they can feed a main chain network to keep track of everything. So it's like a parent-child relationship. You've got one main chain, that's the parent. Then you've got a bunch of different smaller blockchains that keep state and tell the parent what's going on.
I've been following a couple projects here and there, like Plasma and Lightning and Liquid, but what are your favorite projects, and then the simplified explanation of each one?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think Plasma is definitely an interesting concept. So I'm an Ethereum developer, and I love the idea of the Ethereum sharding. I think is more what they're aiming for now is breaking that down into side chains in a sharding ecosystem. But I think it's really interesting the way that they've done it, where they have individual sidechain networks that all feed a main beacon chain, and doing that in hopefully a horizontally scalable environment. And that meaning is, as needed, more different side chains or sharded chains can be commissioned to reach the scalability that we need. And then you could also reduce that back down to a smaller group of chains if you needed to in the future. So I think that's a really interesting concept. And then you have different projects like Zilliqa that are trying to do a similar thing, taking the concept of sharding that you see in like MongoDB or other database structures and doing that same thing with a blockchain network. So Zilliqa is one to check out. I know that a bunch of channels on YouTube have kind of in-depth discussions about what Zilliqa is doing. And then I think there are layer 2 solutions like you mentioned. You've got the Lightning Network concept where, rather than being a whole other blockchain in of itself, it's like a layer 2 payment processing channel for individuals or a group of individuals to make a bunch of trades with one another. And the entire concept there is, if someone is going to be trading with one another consistently, why do you need to gum up the main network with all those transactions when you could just keep a little ledger or a tally of where the money's moving between these folks while it's in the Lightning channel. And then when everyone's done transacting, it can feed the end balances, the state, back to the main chain and carry it that way. So it's basically reducing the volume that has to go onto the main blockchain network as a method of scale. So I think you can call a Lightning network a sidechain in a way because that's what it is. But we're seeing so many different approaches to it, and I love it. I love to see different people making different decisions and creating cool stuff.
Yeah, the whole concept of Lightning is pretty brilliant. I mean, the idea that if you and I are going to be transacting regularly, we can open a payment channel, and then that's just one hit on the blockchain, and then we transact. People can even transact through me to get payments to you to reduce fees. And the only other time that it touches the blockchain is when we settle up, when we eventually just say like, all right, this is when all of our transactions are complete for the time being. So I love the creativity that's being brought to the space for scalability because it is such an issue.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, especially right now while we wait for a generational change in the technology that backs all of these different projects, the way you get there is by taking advantage of these solutions that people are creating, because we're also seeing things like DAGs and tangles and all that sort of stuff that are taking over, and they're saying we can get much more scalable blockchain like structures, so why not try these? And I think it's important for everyone across the board to just be experimenting, breaking stuff, failing constantly, and then finding what works and what doesn't. That's the way we innovate, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So what are you working on now, Forrest? Are you working on any cool projects that you want to shout out?
Yeah, recently I did just for fun, I did a non-fungible token project. So I used the ERC 7021 standard, and just to see what the experience was like as a developer. I will say that standard, it's a beast. The contract is a pretty fun thing to use, but I will say it's a gas guzzler. So I had some issues building those out and being able to create transactions and issue all the contracts all at once and execute functions. It was a pretty expensive process, even on a testnet with dummy ether. So hopefully they'll work on the efficiency part of it in the future.
Nice.
That's it for my interview with Forrest. I hope you guys like this episode. If you did, slap a like. If you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you guys want to show Forrest some love, I'm going to put the links to his channel, Hashoshi, below. So go give him a like and a comment, and I will see you on the next episode of Hack Crypto.